Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Bookish and the Brave. Like you, the Sojourners are on a mission. They faced conflict and sometimes even danger. And in this most recent episode, the Sojourners have returned to Baldtop Library and enter into their final council to decide what path they are to take in order to settle the War of Tethurna. Rest assured, it will not be without incident. And so for now, our story continues. Hello, Sojourner. Make yourself comfortable. You have arrived a few moments before the game, and we begin in conversation. Another thing I like about our ICRPG is there is no movement. It's just you're either close to the target, you're near, or you're far.
Banana rule.
What?
It's the banana. Don't they describe it in the rules as the banana rule?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that. What is that?
Oh, I thought I remembered seeing this. They might have taken it out of the second edition of ICRPG, but
Okay.
they had a thing where they were expecting you to be playing with miniatures on a tabletop, and they said if it's closer than a banana, it's near. If it's at a banana, it's far, and then they have the three different ranges. But
Yeah.
the banana rule.
Yeah, it's like...
What banana? Because like the Honduran bananas are like this big. Like.
It also doesn't say anything about the scale of the minis or the battle map.
Yeah, that's probably why they threw the rule out. It's like...
And how much of the banana you've eaten.
I'm close. I'm near.
Ow. Use my movement speed. I think it works better for theater of the mind, though, rather than saying you're 20 feet away. It's a lot less to keep track of.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, when I played Pathfinder, we had to use the map just because of all the striding, stepping. But the Roll20 map was really cool, and he used like the fog of war, so you could unveil it as we got to it, and it was really quite interactive and fun.
Well, I think we should get started. Full disclosure, I have no idea what you guys are gonna do. So
I think it's your turn because last session, clearly we didn't have any idea what we were going to do or should do either.
Yes.
And I have something that may or may not affect the course of things in my recap. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I think you guys you're all bookends and everything. You're part of the team. You could take it any direction, but I'm just saying overtly you're gonna have to prompt me. Because
My favorite part of re-listening to the last session is realizing that not a single one of us, even 1%, thought about eliminating those guys.
I did. I said, what are we going to do with these guys?
I know. I heard.
Did you?
Yes, he did.
And you're like, well, we can just leave them. Why can't we just leave them in the woods? It's like, well, okay, I guess.
I guess it's what happens when you make me the leader.
I know.
Well, like I said, I have something that may alter that. I don't know.
Oh,
All
gosh.
right. Well, let's hope so. Fix Jonathan for us, Rhett.
I was just gonna jump in and say could be a true retcon.
And so for now, our story continues. The doors of Baldtop Library close shut. News from the Tethurnan border echoes throughout the courtyard by way of the chanters. Lord Basile withdrew most of his troops momentarily, causing confusion. King Jael holds defenses in Andor and refuses to lift the embargo. Supplies in the southern territories run low. The young chanter sets down his scroll and assumes his normal voice once again. Seems like we aren't going to war just yet. A voice mutters in the crowd. Lord Basile has gone crazy, enlisting the strength of orcs. And there's certainly no doubt his meddling in demonic affairs as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he plays as a servant of the malignancy. and the dark powers. A teacher recites poetry to herself in the orange blossom garden. Sadder as ever the once green grass where the boots of war have tread. Sadder still my lover's glower when returning from battle, but not yet. With the pressing matter at hand, and tensions high at the closing of the doors, the Bookends assemble their forces to either link arms and unplug Bochen from the resources of Xanathar, the Hoarder, or sneak into Bochen and strike Basile by sabotaging the Black Lotus ritual. Whatever they do, for now, our story continues.
Asyndeton has been using the time at the library to settle down and try and make sense of everything that they've just been through. And so we find him in his room. His desk is cleared. Everything is just so. Let's see. My pen, yes. Inkwell, yes, check. It's here. And paper, good. Well, I suppose everything's in order. Let me see. How should I set this down? There once was a party from Bochen. No, that won't do at all. Much too trite for the exploits I must record for posterity, and too prone to abuse. A sonnet, perhaps? With banners drab, a war camp is bedight. Its tents and racks with arms of war are filled. Grim darkness shields its bounds from idle sight, and hearts that see this foe are throughly chilled. But lo, a messenger runs from its gate, and hastens on with missive full of woe. The wicked lord, whose mind is festering hate, stands watching there, where running steps might go. And thus the runner speeds his winding way, each step eats up the miles that lie ahead. Yet as he nears his goal, let all friends pray that Hawkins, Sterling, Vaughan can stop him dead. For should the letter reach intended end, it means the death of father, mother, friend. Well, that's better, but now it sounds a bit too lofty. No, it's best to start over. Blank verse it is. It feels a shame, but it seems best suited to the task. I always did like a bit of blank verse. After all, it won me the Poet's Prize once before. Oh, okay, here goes. We reach a camp of war hard by a wood. There trenches gouge the earth and mar the wild. But what was most intended for a shield may now be used by us to steal inside. We find a spot where we may talk unheard and form a plan to stop the coming doom. To do this, we must wait upon the path and take the message ere it reach this camp. This much sounds easy, but a word is light, and so we try to set up for success. We move among the trees to pick a spot of ambush where our trap will spring. But Sterling, naughty Sterling, runs afoul and ends up in the army camp. Oh, whoa! Will all our plans now fail for one misstep? Will Sterling come to harm or give us up? For up ahead, a dark form heads his way. A guard has spotted him and bids him halt. Poor Sterling is no match. His wits are shot. He bumbles all his words. The guard sees through, but Vaughan, dear Vaughan, is watchful to a fault, and sneaks up on the guard from screening brush and strikes him down with hand and foot and strength. His valor has delivered Sterling's hide, and both return to join us in the trees. As we deliberate within the shade, I offer up a humble plan of mine. If word comes not from Basile's hand, the camp might sniff the wind and give us chase. But if we stop the man and change this word, we might accomplish two great things at once. First, we mask our presence by the camp, but second, we can waste this army's time by sending them on urgent errands false. We all agree and catch the messenger, subduing him before he can alert the friends that are so close, yet all too far. And now with parchment new, we draft a note that sends the evil army on a chase that cannot help but hurt its evil lord. Here are the words I write upon the page. My humble servant, haste is what I need. My weapon stores, long eyed by enemies, have fallen to a plan of cunning guile, and now lie in their hands. This loathsome blow, I need not tell you, is unwelcome news. And so I urge you, march with all your haste and fall upon them, merciless and swift, the ones who now stand guard upon the doors. Heed not their cries, for they are false men all. If any speak against this new command, consider him a traitor and a fiend. And thereupon we set Basile's name and sealed the message with Basile's own sign. Now all is ready to enact our scheme. Vaughn tells us he will walk into the camp and hand the message to its captain there. The prisoner, by dint of magic spell, has told us that Vaughn seeks one called Otho. Vaughn dons the vile man's purple robe and goes along the road and through the host's front gate. Among the tents, he finds the captain's place and hands the crafty message with stern face. A moment drags along, uncertain, slow, but joy of joys, false Otho takes the bait and deems the message true and not a ruse. His tests all passed, brave Vaughn speeds from the camp and joins us once again where we await. But acts unwelcome seek to spoil our plan, as from his bonds the surly captive writhes and slithers like a snake to warn our foe of all the falsehoods flowing from my pen. With nothing left to do but head for home, we leave, unsure of what our actions might have done. We can but hope our efforts were not vain, as troubled thoughts antagonize our way. The travel back to Balltop is a road of silent, weary, painful pondering. I think that's enough for now. I'll put my pen down and see what the others are up to. Oh, see.
Sterling, you are walking through the courtyard, a bag in hand full of mundane groceries and items. As you are walking away from the market, you see a very familiar elf, an elven woman standing in the courtyard. She's talking to two students, lecturing them on some certain assignments that are due. The witnesses bow reverently to her as she turns and sees you in the courtyard. Sterling! Sylvia waves you down. Sterling! Her lithe elven form and dark, hollow eyes stare at you unblinkingly as she approaches you. She is catching up to you. Sterling!
And Sterling is kind of taking a moment, trying to not let his face betray him. But you can tell that his eyes are shifting around, looking for an out. He does not know if she has received his letter yet, that he has left to her, and is kind of worried about this forthrightness coming through in the market in a public place. But being the person that he is, he's going to be awkward and start stuttering and stammering. And hi, Sophia. It's good to see you. What are you doing on this fine day?
Sterling, yes, it is good to see you. Safely returned, I assume. I know that troubles are increasing at the border, yet it is good to be closed up within our walls. My people have survived many wars and many trials by learning when to retreat. I hope that Baldtop does the same. Nevertheless, I am glad to see that you are safely behind the walls. I feel accomplished.
Yeah, we're here for now. Skoda said some things, and we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet, but yeah, we're here. I have these groceries here, and I kind of need to get them away. These eggs, I gotta get them on ice. I don't know, they're gonna spoil. But
allow me. She lifts the groceries from you. So I received your letter.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was going to be gone longer than I was. Well, yeah,
Sterling,
I guess.
There is no need to be closed off with me. There is no need to run away from me. You of all people know who the enemy is. Am I now the enemy?
Well, someone who looks a lot like you is, and well, it's kind of hard to differentiate. I know who you are, and you've helped me out immensely. Obviously, with this bracelet, I thank you for that again. It's come very handy. But I'm sorting through things, and well, I guess there is something you could help me with. Well, one of our friends took a visit to Vacatino, and I know that you're a specialist on the realms and the planes and everything. Well, I guess if you could find it in you to speak to Vaughn and give him some insight, and don't tell him I sent you. He might regret, not take it too well. But yeah, it would be helpful for him, I think.
She stops. Why are you so insistent on secrecy?
I grew up in a maritime, military environment, and secrecy was all I knew for the first few years. But you knew that. In Marantorn, we were spies and gatherers and information, much like I'm doing now, but a little bit more out in the open. In fact, these robes kind of gave me away, but I got to think about that next time. So that's why, I guess, yeah, we're in Boltop now. You'd think I'd know differently, but, when you don't know what to do, you fall back on what you know.
And I can see that in the first part of your life, what supports you now crosses you in this later part of your life. Secrecy is a wonderful tool, but I ask you, is it serving you as it once did in Marantorm?
It's a little deeper than I wanted to go today, Sylvia. I'm not going to lie. This kind of uncomfortable. I got to grow up eventually, but yeah, I guess it's not serving me, and I always appreciate your insight and forthrightness. I mean, that's why we were close friends, except for that thing you held back on. That was kind of big, but hey, well, that'll be water under the bridge soon enough.
And what would you have done if I had told you? Would your life be any different? Would your actions be any different?
I've tried to change, but I think if I had known, I don't know,
Sterling, you know now, and you're carrying eggs to your apartment.
I've got friends that I'm waiting on, and yeah.
I think Vaughn is quite all right. He scored a 55 in my Vacatino class, so a field trip was just what he needed. I don't think he needs my help. You have the information. She looks up to the stars, and now they know that you know.
Yes, you're right. As always. Well, I'm sure glad I ran into you today, actually. It's something I've been avoiding, and I don't know, procrastinating seems to be fun until it all hits you in the face. So I do wish you well, Sylvia. We will be leaving soon, and I think we need to catch up again.
Her black eyes sparkle with twilight, revealing emotion and affection. She turns quickly as she came, and she leaves, and then turns right back around and hands you the eggs.
Excellent.
Hawkins, you and Vaughn are training in the Orange Blossom Gymnasium. Sigurd is yelling at a new cadet, something about the blood spilled on the ground and supposedly needing to clean it with the right ingredients. You are busy sparring, training, studying, engaging in some kind of discourse.
No, really, it'll be good for me if you just keep the apple on your head and stand still. You can catch it if I miss anyways. Come on now.
Well, yes, I will put the apple on my head, but standing still, that's another question. And I'll stand still until I can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
I do moving target practice later in the day.
If you need me for that, I'm willing for that as well.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to choose a large apple, though.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Hawkins moves to a distance. Of 150 feet. Decent shot. 23.
That hits the target.
See, I told you. All right, now turn it just a little bit. So I'm going to try to put another one in there.
Vaughn turns about 45 degrees.
All right, here we go. No, 26 this time.
Oh, man. By that time, a whole crowd is gathered around, Sigurd just laughing and clapping his hands. The arrow is split in half. The second arrow splits the first arrow in half. There are 2 apples that are shish kebabbed on the wall. And Sigurd kind of looks at you, Hawkins. I wonder if you put like one on his chest, one on his belly, and then shoot the arrow into the apple but not go through him. Can you do that?
This sounds like one you should be doing for him, Sigurd.
I'm not talking to you.
Let's see. We might have to do it outside, although then we have to account for the wind. I'm thinking I'm going to need to shoot really high up in the sky so the arrow will come down. It'll take me a little while to work out the figures of exactly what angle I need to shoot and that sort of thing. Maybe
it's got to be from the gut. You just got to do it. You don't have to think about it, right?
I mean, that's not really how it works, though.
I'm pretty sure Hawkins is a thinker. He's not really a instinctive person. Oh, it'd be really cool. I mean, besides, like you said, if you miss, he can catch the arrow. That'd be even cooler.
I think the apple trick. I think we'll just stick with that for now.
I agree. Let's continue our training.
All right. Can we make it 3 in a row?
Okay, one more.
That's another 23.
As the arrow goes into the apple, Vaughn's going to reach up behind his head and catch the arrow and take a bite out of the apple.
If this business being a bookend doesn't work out, we could always join a traveling circus.
Well, we do hang out with Sterling, so I think we're already there.
Hawkins and Vaughn, you leave the Orange Blossom Gymnasium. You know you're supposed to meet Asyndeton and Sterling later on that day. And as you're en route, you're moving up through the spiry towers of Baldtop Library, where you have a private meeting place you can all correspond with. As you're walking along the way, how do you appear and what do you pay attention to?
Vaughn is probably pretty sweaty from training and thinking about the different people that he sparred with, the different people he helped climbing practice, and just all the good work that he did in the gym, thinking about the great shots that just happened and the apple and all of that good stuff. But as they get closer to the meeting place, he starts to become a little introspective, remembering their potential failure. I think they probably by now have discussed that it was a bad idea to leave those guys alive. So I think he's contemplating how this happened, and then on a even deeper level, wondering if having Aramonte in his life may have caused this lapse in judgment, as was predicted before they went out on that mission. So I think he's trying to figure out what's next and what does it look like with his brat child and the fact that she has compromised his ability to be effective in his job.
Hawkins, how do you appear? What do you pay attention to?
For after packing all of his gear away and walking out with Vaughn from the gym, while he is on foot, he pulls out his journal and just makes a couple of notes to remind himself later how the training session went. And then he immediately files that away. He has a very compartmentalizing mind. And so he turns his attention to the decision that lays before them about what they're going to do to contribute to the war effort. And he replays the list of pros and cons that he has made of each of the possible courses that they've laid out, and tries to think of anything new as he walks. This is sort of what he does when his mind is idle. He switches to thinking about this and, well, what if this happens? And what if when we do this, it causes this other thing to happen? He's sort of playing chess with the war situation.
The door opens up and Sterling and Asyndeton are already sitting there. The four of you make yourselves comfortable. A pot of tea is served in the corner, and a polite witness in her purple robes pours the boiling water over the stems and the leaves and sets it before you. Anything you need, Bookends. Thank you. She closes the door, and the conference begins.
This tea is heavenly.
Yes, it really freshens the mind, as I think we have some talking to do on what Skoda asked us to do.
Indeed.
Wakes us up. It's quite a big ask, but I think it's necessary. So did we settle on a plan? Are we guerrilla warfaring, or are we storming the castle?
I, for one, feel that our numbers are so small it would be foolhardy indeed to take on everything face first. It seems more intelligent to approach it from the shadows, so to speak.
Then there's the timing, though. I mean, do we have time to sit back? We've done that for so long.
Well, being sneaky doesn't mean sitting back necessarily. I think we can be aggressively sneaky. Well, I hope we can be aggressively sneaky. And yes, but I think taking it face on, well, you recall not that long ago we tried to take it face on, and I found myself in Vagatino, and you all found yourself without the Black Lotus, and he looks at Asyndeton, and then he stops his comment.
I felt you looking at me, Vaughn.
Hey, just am saying, I think you were right, Asyndeton. I think we need to be smart. We are small in number, and it certainly seemed easy for Lord Basile to cause problems for us. I think facing him head on might not be the right answer.
I've pretty well reached the same conclusion myself. The upside would be taking care of perhaps all the biggest problems at the same time. But even if we were to not only neutralize the Black Lotus but also neutralize Lord Basile, I have no doubt that his lieutenants would be able to keep up the cause. I don't know. I doubt that he is the source of all the magic that is affecting the minds of the people of Bochen and other places as well, no doubt. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that cutting off the head is gonna defeat the whole beast, if you will, if you'll allow me that metaphor. So I agree that taking the indirect route is our better course of action. Now, that still leaves us several options before us. Do we go straight on with Xanathar? Do we try to cut off the supply of gold from Xanathar to the armies? Or do we try to draw Xanathar out in some way, which, we possibly could accomplish by interfering with a supply of gold?
One thing to consider, must we kill the dragon to disrupt the flow of gold?
That's a good point.
We may not have to kill the dragon, but I think when we disrupt the flow of gold, I think that situation will present itself to us, and then I don't know about, well, I don't know if I can outrun a dragon, and if I can't, I'm fairly certain you can't.
I've been working on this rocket booster you strap on your back. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ain't got time for that.
You've been talking to Condonuct again.
Is this Acme business you've been talking about?
We sell anvils and TNT.
So if Xanathar, once he got paid off by Starblood and by Lord Basile, he would have gone into hibernation, I believe, is what I've read on dragons. They tend to, relax for a little bit, and then once things aren't going their way again, they would, come out and expect their tithe, as it were. But I definitely believe that stopping the flow of gold would put at least a damper on the movement of troops in the war. Now, I don't know what Skoda has planned for other bookends or groups of people. Like, we can't be the only ones working on this. There's no reason we couldn't assemble a small task force or, disrupt various areas so it's not just us.
Clearly, whatever we do, we will not be doing it as representatives of Baldtop with our recent poor choice. Therefore, let's make our decision that is best for the four of us, and stopping the evil may be slightly less concerned with Baldtop. That said, can we all agree that we no longer leave anyone alive that could hinder our progress?
A knock comes at the door.
That was poor timing.
The door creaks open. Mr. Asyndeton, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Your book has come in.
Ah, thank you. Bring it here if you would, please. Has it been converted so I can read it?
Yes, exactly as you requested.
Excellent. Just bring it here, please.
Asyndeton, as you browse through this book on the Black Lotus, the three of you could also see the pictures are still intact. When the seeds were planted, a curse was laid on the flower. Though it boasts the power to resurrect whom you would choose at will, an evil fallen angel named Menuza planted the first Black Lotus and cursed it. When he went away into the abyss, incarcerated for his sins against the universe and against Bonsaro, whoever would have the hubris to raise up anyone using the Black Lotus would inadvertently unlock his prison door and release the power of the Vampire Lord. Your fingers could be tingling at this moment as you read that last line, knowing that this trap has baited anyone who desires resurrection would inadvertently welcome a demon into the world. A master of demons, Menuza the vampire.
There you have it. Perhaps it's a good thing we didn't get the Black Lotus at all, after all. That seems rather grim.
I don't think we were going to use it. I mean, it would have just sat there, but now we know that if he is planning on using it to bring whomever he chooses, then there'll be a new player in this quest for world domination, as it were. And which side would he take? I mean, his own side, or would he, Basile, surrender and join his cause? Or it's a lot of unknowns. That's quite troubling. And how are we to know if he's even used it yet?
From what I know of celestial beings, it would almost certainly be his own ends.
I think whether Basile joined him or not, we can be certain that it's not going to be beneficial to us, or to Baldtop, or to the betterment of most of us here in Bochen.
You're absolutely right, Master Von.
At the same time, if Graspin and Basile are against this new power, then, the enemy of my enemy and all that.
No more friends with demons, Sterling.
Point taken, sir.
I think we should move. Do we agree to stop the flow of gold and see where that takes us?
That makes the most sense. If we can stop the war, then we can focus our efforts more closely on the one we are trying to stop.
One front at a time.
Exactly, Master Hawkins.
Should we attempt any more plans than just the one? That is to say, should we go find a supply line and stop it? Or should we do that and also maybe plan for something bigger? I'm not saying I know exactly what that might be. A couple ideas have floated through my mind. We talked before about perhaps laying a trap for Xanathar so that if we can somehow predictably draw him out, we might have a battlefield set to our advantage, but that would probably take an awful lot of time to set up. And I don't really know what kind of time scale we're working with here. I don't know what it's going to take to get Xanathar out.
And I am racking my brains to see what it might take to awaken a sleeping dragon. I have no idea at the moment.
We could just ask Sterling to sneak.
That would almost certainly waken him.
That moment, Vaughn would probably walk over to Sterling and put his hand on his shoulder with a little smirk on his face to make sure that Sterling knows he's just having good fun and not trying to be mean anymore.
Yes, I get it. I'm big and clumsy. Yes. But no, I agree. I definitely could wake a dragon.
That was not a challenge.
Well, I believe we all know where the entrance to the lair is. We've seen him from it when we were in Bochen. And I believe as he received his funds there, that is where the distribution is going out. And I am tired of Bochen. 2 trips and 2 deaths almost. Do we dare to go for number 3, or do we do? I don't know. I put myself in your hands, guys.
I think it's time we move.
Every story comes to an end, so for now we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, visit Tabletop Audio. Find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And take the time to sojourn with us. Check out our brand new website at www.sojournersawake.com. If you would like to support the show, you can visit us at Ko-Fi. If you buy the Sojourners a Ko-Fi, I will grant them 1 free reroll per game. Thank you for your generous support. But however you choose to sojourn with us, as always, may your story continue.